Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
We're all set up here down this creek bottom. Buck's been in here a bunch of times, so good chance to see it on him.
Meh. Smoked him. I think he just crashed, bro. Absolute money, dude. It's 76 degrees out. We just set up 80 yards from a buck and killed him at 18 yards.
Here we are. We're set up on this creek that's been absolute fire for the last 8 days. We know a shooter went in here to bed this morning.
Meh.
Smoked his ass tonight.
You get it? That was at 8, dude. That's at 8.
Bucked out October 28th. Homie's up for the rest of November. But absolute incredible season. Both kills on hanging hunts, right on the beds, and just making it happen.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and we are doing the 2022 recap podcast. This is going to be the last one where you hear my voice, and I don't have a guest for a while. I've got a bunch of guests lined up for you guys, and I'm just going to kind of intel my. I know I've intel my recap of hunting through the year. I'm going to recap my podcast through the year, and then my plans for next year, and then get into some goals that I have for next year as well. But first, let's get into the people that make this possible. First off, I want to start off with Exodus Outdoor Gear. As you guys know, they've been supporting me a very, very long time, and 2023 is going to be a huge year for Exodus. They have multiple things coming out. They got a new cell cam coming out, a new Reg SD card cam coming out, and a couple more arrow selection choices for some micro diameter arrows coming out. You guys can get a little bit more in-depth intel if you listen to their most recent podcast. But if you want to get the really, really good intel the quickest, make sure and sign up for their insider newsletter. That's where you're going to get that intel direct right to your email there, right when they release it for everybody to know. But this new cell cam is what everybody's been wanting out of Exodus. A different option as a cell cam model. You still get that warranty. You get that reliability. A set it and don't mess with it cam, and the price is drastically different than the render. I'm incredibly excited for the cell cam. Definitely going to purchase some and run them next year. Add them to my arsenal, as well as the new arrows. If you're a micro diameter fan, they are going to offer some micro diameter arrows. Next, we got Afflictor broadheads. If you guys are interested in stocking up for the end of this season, maybe you're going to go on a doe rampage and kill some does late season here, or you want to stock up for turkey season or early next year. Until December 27th, site-wide, Afflictor is offering 15% off to the listeners of this podcast using code XMAS, XMAS, all caps, 15, XMAS 15, no space. That'll give you 15% off everything from their hybrid broadhead to the fixed blade to the mechanical. Whatever you're looking for to add to your arsenal, that will get you covered there, 15% off. And next on the list is 330 Archery. If you guys are looking for a new bowstring this offseason, make sure to look up Tony. I'm really happy to be able to add him throughout the year here to the ad reads. Tony's a really solid guy, and doing this business just because he loves it. Starting, wholesome dude. He's a Muay Thai trainer, also on the side. Just an all-around great guy. So if you guys are looking to get your bowstrings, maybe you're tuning up an old bow, maybe you want to get some new bowstrings, some custom strings built for your new bow, a different color, or your strings are a couple years old and you're looking for a new set, look up Tony at 330 Archery. And next but not least, we got Next Level Deer Supplements. If you guys are looking for any supplements this off-season or mineral going into the next year, make sure and check out Next Level Deer Supplements. My good buddies Scott and Nate will hook you up and get you on the right line to get you the best nutrition for your deer this time of the year. All right, well, starting off with the show, like I said, I've covered my 2020 recap for hunting, which I'm not done, guys. I got bucks edging daylight. We got this cold front coming. Still hunting. Muzzleloader season was a bust. We had 50-degree weather with rain, but I still got the archer tags and still ready to rip. Potential go after some older age class, smaller racked deer that I haven't chased this year just because I was pretty adamant on wanting to shoot a certain age class or just target certain bucks. Not really an age class, but I picked out a few deer that I wanted to target through the year, and that's pretty much the only ones I was going to shoot. I passed a lot of bucks, and some of them were fairly hard for me to pass, knowing in the past I've just kind of let it rain down on solid bucks. But this year I wanted to do something a little bit different, and it was challenging me targeting bucks, but that's a whole nother podcast. But let's start off with the podcast. So this year, this is a shout-out to all you guys. I had more downloads than I ever had. I actually had more downloads this year than I had the past 2.5 years combined. So if that shows you how much we grown this year and how much you guys really stepped it up and how much hunting podcasts in general have grown, that helps me out so much. It motivates me to put out good content during season, off season, to come at you guys as hard as I can and bring the best stuff that I possibly can every week to keep you guys engaged. And I have a lot of loyal fans out there that tune in every week right when I can't believe I get on Libsyn, make sure everything's uploaded, a couple hours after the show, and it says 450 downloads already. So that was, close to 500 people that were waiting within an hour to listen to that podcast when it was released. So it blows me away the support that you guys have. So huge shout out to you guys. I want to do this off season. I want to do some more listener shout out kind of episodes where I have 5-6 different listeners on. You get to talk to me personally, maybe tell a hunting story that you wanted to tell on a podcast before, but you can't get on one. You don't have a full-length story or whatever. This is going to be your option. So if you're interested in that, send me a message on Instagram or send me a message via Facebook or somewhere. Instagram is the best place to get me. Facebook I've kind of lost interest in over the years and don't get on it near as much. But send me a message, and I'd love to have some of these people that listen to the show on and get to know you a little bit better. And what a better way to showcase my thanks as giving you some time in the podcast and letting you hear yourself on the airwaves of coming into people's ear holes for a change. It could be you instead of me. So I wanted to put that out there. I'm going to do a couple listener shout out episodes. I've did that in the past. Also, you guys know that I'm a series guy. I love series, and I'm going to start a series, which I know has been done on some other podcast, but I'm hopefully I can throw my twist on it like I normally do, make it unique to me and my brand. And I want to start a series of the basics I got a list of everything from, picking out your bow and tuning it and setting it up. I want to have Mike Lemansky on for that. Finding hunting property, and the difference in hunting public and private and what is best suited for you. Basic scouting, basic understanding of how a deer smells, basic understanding of winds and thermals. And these are probably going to be short, digestible episodes, probably around that 40-minute mark during the off season, where we could just go back to, we're going to cover picking a good bow, picking the right bow for tuning your bow and proper shooting technique. And hopefully you can listen to that in January and February and start practicing that throughout the year. listening, I want to have a guy on. I got him lined up who is a police tracker, using dogs. He understands how deer smell very well. He understands how dogs utilize smell, whether it's in the air or ground scent. I want to have him on and just have a basics of how deer smell, what can we do to prevent it, what do you think works, what doesn't work, go into the whole 9 yards of scent control. And I'd like to keep this pretty basics. You can get so in depth in all these different topics, but I want to keep them basic, easy to digest, and then maybe if I have some people are enjoying the series, maybe do a scent episode 2. So this is that was basic scent control and scent understanding, and this is advanced scent control and scent understanding. To have someone on that believes that the ozone works, the scent blocker works, and let him come on and talk about what he believes works in his process. Because one thing that I've learned over the years is that everybody has a different opinion on what works, what doesn't work. But there's literally no wrong way to do it if you're killing bucks. If it's working for you, it's the right way. And you just need to keep doing it, especially if it's working in your area. But that's my idea. Go over the absolute basics I want to do an episode of, how to pick the correct tree on a property if you're going to hang a permanent set, how to pick a correct tree, on a property if you're going to hang a mobile set, and then the process of hanging a mobile set. I know there's a lot of new listeners that get into this, and they're listening to these guys talk about really advanced topics and scouting deer and doing this and doing that. So I think it'd be really cool to go back to the basics. And then another one I want to have on, shout out Last Breath, is, when we all started, just go over what the gimmicks are, what I believe the gimmicks are, have a guest on, talk about what he thinks the gimmicks are. I believe I'll have Garrett on for that. He just did an awesome podcast on his podcast, the Last Breath Huntiversity podcast, on gimmicks in the outdoor industry. And when we were young or first starting to get into hunting, like a lot of these listeners are, it was easy to get tied up in these gimmicks and not really understand what they were and what they were worth. And you're trying everything under the sun, trying to kill a buck. And it would be cool to have two people that on a podcast that just openly talk about what, and maybe have some differing opinions on stuff. So you got a real good conversation on what you think is good and what's not good. So there's a lot more podcast topics I have on that, but that's probably going to be a 6 to 8 to 10, depending on how in depth I'm liking it, series of the basics of deer hunting, from getting the property to setting the bow up to hanging the stand to executing the shot. And then I'm going to have a full episode on processing deer, understanding that these new guys, if you don't have a locker, there is a way to process these deer correctly, and go in an in-depth episode of how you break down a deer, what's the best way to do it, what's the best way to store the deer, and some different things you can do with the deer after you've killed the deer and got it in your freezer. So that's some of the off-season that I'm going to do. Another thing that I want to do for you guys this series is I want to bring the best content that I can for you guys and the most entertaining. So I will be doing some Legend of the Woods episodes. I have some of those lined up already. Some really unique stories that I've already went over with guys and getting them lined up to come on. But I also want to open the floor up to the listeners on what you guys want during season, in those months coming up to season. Do you want another one, the one that got away series? Do you want another the next 7 days series? Do you want certain guests on during that time? I'm here for you guys. You come in to listen to it, and I would like to know what you guys would like out of me. You guys tune into this show. I enjoy talking about anything whitetail during that time of year, so I would like it to be heavily engaged in tactic talk, to help people be more successful during that time of year. But in a nutshell, I'm gonna put it out to you guys. So I'll leave this open. You can message me with what you guys agree on. But during the year, I'll probably put up some polls at different times of the years and let you guys decide what my season series will be. Because you guys know that I have 4 kids, full-time job, wife, and during my rutcation hunting time, I like to pre-record those episodes because I do the Rutcation podcast series for 17 days this year and release a podcast every day. So I'll hopefully be able to do that again as long as the vacation and everything lines up. But I will definitely open up the door to you guys talking about what you want me to do during that time of year and what you think would be the best benefit for you and the listeners as well. We'll be running some polls on that. Another thing, kind of 22 in a nutshell for me, I've had multiple people ask me, what are you going to do if you don't shoot a deer this year? It just blows people away. 7 years of success back to back to back, shooting $1 to $3 a year. People just can't believe that I didn't get it done this year. And I did it to myself. I passed a lot of good deer that, I would have shot in the past and missed opportunities on other deer. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hunt next year the same way I always hunt. I think there's so much, people feel like people care so much about if you kill or not, and I don't believe that people care as much as you think. I run a hunting podcast, guys. I produce content hunting related that's supposed to be educational to help other people hunt. I'm supposed to be the guy that knows how to kill deer, and I didn't kill deer. So it's completely okay if you didn't kill deer, or you didn't kill a booner, or you killed a solid buck, or, it doesn't matter. No one really cares what you kill. And if they do, they got a lot more going on in their mind than there needs to be. But I was really excited when the opportunity come out where I didn't end up killing a deer this year, which I still got a few days here. I got 10 days here in December to get it done. So that might change. But having the opportunity to having a brand that a lot of people follow, that reaches a lot of people, and saying, hey, it's okay to not kill a deer. Like, it's cool. I think that that's an awesome opportunity to showcase if you have a goal of a certain type of deer that you want to kill and you didn't meet that goal, it's completely fine to not kill a deer. That's just part of the game. And it happens to multiple killers every year. And this year in particular, I know a lot of people that didn't kill that worked their ass off. It's not anything from not trying, but if you're out there and you feel like you're listening to this podcast and everybody else is killing but I did not kill a buck this year, and I'm completely fine with that, and you should be too. I think it's cool that I can kind of have this position where I'm supposed to be a killer. I'm supposed to get it done because I'm talking to people about how to kill deer and how I've been successful over the years, and I was not successful this year. It's humbling. It's good for me, and it's also an opportunity for me to share to other people that it's okay to not kill a deer. It's not that big a deal. It's not a life or death situation. It does hurt me personally because, you work so hard to get it done. And man, I had so many opportunities this year, just wasn't in the cards. But moving on, another huge shout out to all you guys listening all year. It was incredible to see the numbers this year. You guys really, it really warmed my heart to see the value of this podcast when I was getting those messages of the Next 7 Days series, and people were, man, I shot this buck. I listened to your podcast. I changed the plan. It was so incredible to get those messages, and hopefully I impacted some people in positive ways. As you guys know, kind of in the middle of the year there, Homie decided to step away from the podcast. And I did get some messages that the podcast suffered when he left. And it is hard not having that co-host where you can bounce back and forth and have that camaraderie and chit-chat. And I do miss Homie on the podcast, and I miss him as a friend. He's been incredibly busy with his family and dirt bike racing, and we don't talk near as much as we should anymore. But people change and grow throughout life. But I want to appreciate all you guys sticking around with me through there. I had a couple episodes where the quality wasn't very good, a couple episodes where the upload time was messed up a little bit, the cover art was messed up, and that's stuff that Homie took care of. I didn't do the cover art or the upload or the editing, and now I'm doing it all. So I appreciate you guys, kind of sticking with me, and I know there's a lot of people on here because they loved Homie And like I said, I got the calls and messages about, hey man, you need a co-host because it's not as good without him, with him gone. And I just chose not to get another co-host just so I didn't have the same, situation of where someone walks away from the brand because they want to do something else, and then I'm stuck with, running the whole thing again and trying to get pieces together. So it will be just me next year. I did have some pre-recorded episodes there where Homie was stepped in that we pre-recorded before he decided to, focus on his family more and step away from the podcast, which can't blame the guy. I love the guy. Like I said, we don't talk near as much as we should, but always been a solid dude, and really enjoyed hunting with him with the time that I had. But one thing I might do next year, I might have some guest co-hosts on. I've had some people reach out and ask if they could guest co-host, and I might try that a couple times and see how it flows and see how it does, just for some added thought. Maybe they think of a situation different than I do, and just see how it goes, and if I like one of the guys that I have on, maybe I'll have them on a few times throughout the year and kind of guest co-host with me, and break up the monotony of just hearing my voice and get another second opinion on mine. Because a lot of times Homie's opinion was different than mine, and he thought more technical than me. He was more data-driven, more date-driven. I'm more of a gut feeling kind of guy. I'm going here. This is what I'm going to do, and this is why. He was more of a collect data, make a move, and every move has to be based on some kind of data feel other than just, I feel like I need to be over here because, this is where it's been good in the past or something. That's kind of my hunting style, is I feel like this is where I need to be, so that's where I go. But it'd be nice to have a different voice in here. But I appreciate you guys, sticking out through all that, through the changes through the year. But you guys really kicked ass on the downloads there in August, September, October, November. Blew me away with how much support, blown away by the support of the Rutcation podcast. Thousands of people every day tuning in to listen to what I had going on out there in the woods. So huge shout out to that. Every day releasing a podcast is a ton of work, and it's incredibly rewarding to have people enjoy it and tune in and want to tune in every day, and you see that download number every day clicking away. But another thing that I want to do for 2023, I've helped a lot of people out with the starting a podcast, but I want to push that again. Is if you're looking to start a podcast or you want to get help in that field, don't be afraid to reach out. I will send you a list of everything that I have for gear, how I do everything, and all the stuff that I've learned throughout the years to help you out, to get you started. I've done that with multiple shows. Some of them are still around, some of them are not. But I always want to be the guy that the podcast that was looked at as, this podcast helped me out when I first started, instead of the podcast that, believes that there's too many people in the field already and it's crowded, and there's enough ear holes out there for everybody. And the content proves itself that if it's good, people will come back. So don't be afraid to start a show. Don't be afraid to reach out, and I will help you throughout that. But getting into some of my goals for next year, my absolute number one goal for the 2023 deer season is to get my oldest boy a deer. I have him come on here in a little bit and talk about what his goals are for the year, what he thinks he's going to be able to accomplish. He's a little mic shy because he thinks millions of people listen to this, but he doesn't know. But I have him come on and talk about kind of what his goals are, just to get his perspective. He is 7, will be 8, going right into the first of next deer season. October 4th is his birthday, so his birthday will be right there in October. Be able to take his first deer. And he's got some big goals. He wants to kill a deer out of a tree stand, wants to hunt mostly out of a tree stand, wants to kill a deer off a food plot, wants to kill a doe, a buck, and a turkey. So he's going to have a heck of a year next year if he does that. And that's my number one goal, guys, is I'm going to put a lot of focus early season on getting him on these deer and hopefully get him tagged out by the time the rut hits and old dad can go out there and start swinging that'd be my number one goal for hunting wise. For podcast wise, I want to keep bringing the absolute best content that you guys enjoy, and I would love to keep growing this brand, keep plugging away. I have this this almost 5.5 year streak of releasing an episode on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, and I'm not going to let that streak die. I want to see personally how long I can do this. How long can I commit to something and release an episode every Wednesday consistently? It's a goal for me to not miss a week next year. That's one of my biggest goals is I don't want to miss a week. I want to come in your ear holes every single week with content. I want to try to bring the best content that's going to help you guys kill your target bucks, motivate you to hunt harder, hunt smarter, and motivate you to always do the right thing. That's my goal next year. But as I mentioned, I'm going to throw a segment in here that I recorded with my son Rainer to talk about some of his goals for the 2023 season. All right, after going over some of my goals for this year, you know that one of my main goals is to get Rainer a deer. So I thought it would be cool to get some of his goals and his ideas of what he thinks how it's going to go next year hunting. So what are some of your goals for next year, your first year hunting, Rainer?
Get a good shot, shoot a buck, shoot a doe.
Anything else? Anything else?
No.
So you want to make a good shot and you want to shoot a buck and a doe. What are you most excited for about hunting?
Going in the tree stand.
Going in the tree stands?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you're going to be doing a lot of tree stand hunting or blind hunting?
Tree stand.
Tree stand hunting. How far do you think you'll be able to take a shot? Like 20 or 30 yards?
40.
All the way out to 40? Oh, man, you're going to have to practice a lot, huh? What's your goals for food plots this year? Are you going to help me put food plots in, or what are you thinking?
Yes.
Yeah? So you want to, what would be your ideal situation? You want to kill a doe first or a buck?
Either one.
Either one. That's a good plan. So we're going to start with a crossbow, right? We got to shoot it in the backyard and make sure you're good to go. You think you'll be shaking on your first deer? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your goals are shoot a buck, shoot a doe. What do you have any other goals? Do you think you want to learn some more about hunting, or yeah? Anything else you can think of?
No.
No. All right. Well, that's some of his goals that he's thinking this year. So we're looking for a buck, maybe on a food plot, out of a tree stand, huh? So we're gonna have to practice a lot of things. We're gonna have to practice that shooting out of a tree stand with a harness on, and all that. That's something that you haven't been ever done before in your life. So if next year you shoot just a doe, do you think it'll be a successful year?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good plan. So you'll be happy with your goals if you just shoot a doe next year.
Yes.
Good. So on your buck, what kind of quality of buck are you looking for? What kind of size of a buck are you looking for?
12.
A 12-pointer? You might have to lower your standards around here. Would you be happy with a spike buck?
Yes.
Yeah, spike buck with a forked horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably what we're looking for, right? Basket 8. That's a good buck. Basket 8 buck. So, what do you think about turkeys? You think you're ready to go turkey hunting as well? You think you'll be prepared?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe put a turkey on the list for a goal as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll put a turkey on there, and a doe and a buck of any size, right? And that's the goal? Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's some of Rainer's goals, and those goals are my goals for him. My dad did not hunt. The only thing I had was a close friend that hunted, and I never hunted with him. He just kind of was like, here's a bow, and this is how you start. That's kind of how I started when I was really young. It's just out there by myself doing it. I remember my first target was a 1-gallon plastic jug filled with water that I would shoot at with a bow that I could barely pull back. So he's going to start off with a lot better gear than me, with a lot more intel than me. So what do you think your chances of success are 1 to 10, 10 being you shoot a deer for sure, and 1 being you don't take a shot? What do you think it'd be?
10.
10. Well, we got high standards over here for the year. So, all right, you can go to bed now. Well, that's some of his goals. Like I said, that's going to be one of my main things for the year, is to focus on him, get him set up, get some lifelines set up, get him comfortable shooting out of a tree stand. That's something that he wants to do. I think hunting out of a tree stand is way cooler in theory, but he might not enjoy it as much as the blind once he gets up there and realizes that it's not the most comfortable thing to set in for that long. But I got some good spots on the urban piece that I see a lot of bucks and a lot of does in. So hopefully we can have him met all of his goals for the year in hunting, and then Daddy can hunt during the rut. So that's the plan. So I wanted to showcase them goals on this episode to just kind of touch back on that when I talked about, it's okay if you didn't kill a buck. You have to remember where you started when you were a hunter, and he is literally just starting. And one of his main goals, he said he'd be happy if he killed a doe. So you have to remember that that's where you started at one time. You were just happy to see a deer and have an opportunity to take a deer out there in the woods. And especially if he's kind of got an edge. He's got a dad that really loves the sport, has put himself in the sport of hunting for a long time, and has these good properties that he knows where these deer are, and he's going to get opportunities to kill deer. When I struggled tremendously to even see a deer when I started, I didn't know anything about wind. I didn't know anything about, they don't move in the middle of the day or anything like that. It was just me going out there when I had time in the woods and walking around a lot and educating a lot of deer, and making it harder to kill them. But he already knows more about hunting right now, and he's 7 years old than I did when I was 2 or 3 years into hunting. So just remember that, you started there as well. So if you had a bad year or you didn't kill a buck, you got to remember how many other things you accomplished this year, and how little of a factor it has on your success for the future. The only thing it would have got you is a few more text messages of congratulations, and that's about it. But that's like I said, that's my number one goal for the year. You guys know my number one podcast goal for the year. Personal hunting goal I would love to kill JoJo if he survives this year. That buck burned me pretty bad with the missed shot, the missed opportunity. I'd love to get another chance at him. He'll be really unique next year. And then I also would really like to effectively hunt my new property better, given it the first year this year. I had the opportunity to kill. I had some good bucks on it, but I learned so much of when I need to hunt it and when I don't need to hunt it, and when it's pretty much time to wrap it up on the property and move on somewhere else. So I take a lot of pride in effectively hunting property without educating deer, and not making an impact where the deer are harder to hunt. And that this year I failed doing that, so that's going to be a goal of mine on this new property. As long as nothing happens and I get to hunt it next year, I just want to hunt it cleaner, hunt it smarter, and understand it that much more. But that's about it for me. I'm not going to put a big ribbon on next year of all these goals that I want to accomplish. I am going to do some traveling next year, whether it be Missouri. I might do an Indiana Public Land Challenge kind of deal with the Born Again bow hunter guys. Not 100% sure on what I'm going to do here, but I'm definitely going to get out of my comfort zone and try to grow, maybe chase mule deer. Not sure what exactly I'll do, but definitely going to do something to have a little fun, get out of my comfort zone, and try to grow. But like I said, first things first, get Randy on the board with his first deer and first gut job and first butcher job, and get that all knocked out of there. And 8 years old, he'll definitely be able to remember every moment of it, and I want it to be a really special moment that he cherishes the rest of his life. So hopefully I can nail it. It's a lot of responsibility, but hopefully I can get her done. But I hope you guys are going to enjoy this year's content. I'm going to try to bring it like I always do. But make sure and send those messages of what you guys would like to hear. If you want to hear more Legend of the Woods in the off season, I can do some more of those. And then also, if you are on Instagram and stuff, participate in those polls, because that's how I'm going to know what you guys want out of me for season and what the best content I can bring you guys is. But coming up in the future, like I said, I'm going to have more guests on, less of me chit-chatting about what I got going on, what my plans are. But just another huge shout-out, much love to all you guys for all the support over all the years. I've been doing this forever, it feels like, but I'm not stopping anytime soon. I'm going to keep recording these podcasts and hopefully having a positive effect on, new hunters and old hunters and people in the game, in the industry, of doing the right thing and making everybody a better hunter altogether. So I always try to do the right thing, try to leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out. Love you guys.